Hello, welcome to our new Europe rendezvous in Corsica. This is one of the jewels of the Mediterranean. It's just south of the French mainland. It's famous for its lush scenery, its tourism, but it's also trying to escape what's called the development trap that afflicts outer-lying regions in the European Union. And to help with that, the EU is investing 117 million euros in cohesion funding in the current financial exercise. One of the beneficiaries of that is this, the Corsican Fire Brigade.
Their distinguishing feature is that they have tracks, so there's no risk of a flat tyre. They can go over steep and rough terrain. The main thing is that we can go around the fire and attack it from behind, so that we avoid long exposure to heat.
These tanks actually have a link with the European Union. You've got EU flags on the tank.
The fire service has been able to acquire this type of armoured vehicle through European regional development funds and Interreg projects. For these two vehicles, including all their equipment, EU funding comes to 550,000 euros. Overall, the total budget for various projects exceeds 3 million euros.
Wow, this is quite the clementine display, isn't it? Marie-Antoinette, just tell me first why clementines is such an iconic fruit in Corsica.
This is one of the emblematic fruits of Corsica. It was exactly a century ago, in 1926, that the first clementine trees were planted in Corsica. Since then, the industry has become more structured, and it now partners with researchers here and with the University of Corsica.
And just tell me, what is the research and innovation aspects of this?
Those you see here are potential specimens for the next variety of clementine. We've carried out several trials here that we're going to test today. If something appears promising, we'll obviously propose it to the sector.
Morgan, can we actually look at a sample now? Can you make a sample for us?
Of course, let's do it. So now we're going to analyse the sugar content of the juice and the level of acidity to determine how ripe the fruit is. We'll use the small titration device here and the refractometer there, which are funded by the European Union.
Let me test it then.
Okay.
Okay. This is not your classic breakfast fruit juice.
No.
It's very nice, actually. It's smooth.
Ah, bien.
Yeah, it's not so... It doesn't feel very acidic. Thank you. So, as the president of the Corsican Assembly, what are the particular problems you see in being an island?
When you live on an island, you have to deal with the challenges that come with being geographically isolated. Transportation issues, the added cost of transport, and the extra cost of logistics, because you need to maintain much larger stocks. And this obviously has consequences for the competitiveness of our economy. Also, we're not simply an island, we're also a mountainous region, which brings its own internal connectivity issues. We have a population of only 360,000, and it's an aging population.
You mentioned demographics and this aging population. If we look at the figures as well, the GDP per capita in France in 2023 was 41,000 euros. In Corsica, it's only 30,000 euros. Does this speak to a development trap?
We do risk falling into a development trap, as the European Commission has pointed out. Paradoxically, there is economic growth. Gross domestic product has increased, but it is still too low in terms of GDP per capita. And we have not transformed our economy in the way that we should have done. What we need to do is to create a program that allows us to overcome the constraints of living on an island. That means investing in infrastructure, of course, but also in our capacities for innovation. This is very important. We have to innovate, including within more traditional industries.
The European Union is, of course, trying to boost this territory, and in fact, it's earmarked 117 million euros in 2021 to 2027. Renaud Lefort has that story. Corsica, a sunny place with some shady goings-on. How do EU funds fit in?
In the current funding periods, Corsica was allocated 117 million euros from the European Regional Development Fund and the European Social Fund Plus. The Corsican economy is mainly focused on tourism, but tourism doesn't work all year round. So that can create a kind of development trap, which of course has implications for how you use EU funds.
Ajaccio's new cable car might be a great draw for tourists, but it's at the centre of a political squabble. The mayor says the Corsican authorities didn't provide enough funds because they favour the north of the island and not this part. Opponents decry a poorly chosen route and budget overspend. For François Alfonsi, it's all typical of island politics.
Everyone has their point of view and sees things differently. Is this project useful? Is it well thought through? These questions are actually at the heart of the upcoming mayoral elections. According to a number of stakeholders, including the entities that manage EU funds, the municipal authorities began this project without sufficiently considering the way in which it would be integrated into the city's transport network.
EU money in Corsica can also generate motives for potential corruption. In 2025, an agricultural trade unionist, Pierre Alessandri, was murdered. French anti-corruption body Anticorps said he'd raised the alarm about misuse of EU funding.
What we see in Corsica is that there is a mafia context, a very powerful omerta. Pierre Alessandri was a farmer who helped uncover wrongful use of subsidies from the European Common Agricultural Policy. The investigation is still ongoing. We don't know if his murder was linked to the affair he helped bring to light.
Indeed, Alessandri's own trade union, Via Campagnola, says the murder was not linked to any corruption cover-up. Despite scandals and politicking, Corsica has been able to channel EU funds to benefit its economy, even though that rebalancing is far from complete. Is financing this cable car project, which the mayor of Ajaccio wants, it's not a priority for you?
No, financing a cable car was not a priority at all, as it doesn't contribute much in terms of regional mobility. And if I may add, it doesn't do much at the local level either, especially when there are villages that need to be connected, scientific research that needs to be supported to help modernize and increase competitiveness for our industries.
Thank you so much for being our guest on Europe Rendezvous.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Being an outlying and mountainous region, Corsica faces challenges in upgrading its electricity infrastructure. But the helping hand of the EU isn't far away. Luke Brown tells us more.
A revolution in street lighting in Corsica. Since 2016, 52,000 old units have been replaced with these more efficient LED lamps, cutting energy bills and reducing light pollution.
On top of the issues regarding the environment and energy, the public lighting network was very outdated, so there was a danger for the users. It was urgent to intervene and to provide the municipalities with a decent network.
For Corsica's energy agency, overhauling the island's public lighting wouldn't have been possible without EU funding.
Overall, it was an investment of 70 million euros, of which 10 million come from EU funds. So it's obvious that without EU funds, it would have been very difficult to fund the renovation, especially as many of the municipalities are very small villages with modest financial means.
Piana is one of 240 villages to benefit from the new lights and gain recognition for its starry nights.
It means a reduction in the municipal budget of between 10,000 and 15,000 euros per year. It's a source of pride for the inhabitants to know that they live in a village where we can see the stars like nowhere else.
For some in Corsica, those dark nights are indeed something to cherish and to measure.
The closer we get to 20, 21, 22, that means there is less light pollution in the sky.
Lawrence Canavaggio is part of an island-wide effort to see just how dark Corsica's skies really are.
I find it extraordinary to be able to see a sky without light pollution. It means you can raise your eyes up to the sky and be amazed, just like when you were a child looking up at the stars.
Thanks to its low population density and its isolated geography, as well as reduced light pollution, Corsica is bidding for international recognition as a dark sky reserve, one of fewer than 30 in the world. For the local amateur astronomers club, it's a source of pride and potential revenue for the island.
80% of the world's population can't really see the Milky Way, but here we can see it beautifully. I think that can go hand in hand with developing parts of central Corsica.
It's not just energy usage where Corsica hopes to blaze a trail, it also aims to be a pioneer in energy storage. For the past decade, researchers at the MERT platform have sought to harness solar power day and night. Solar panels convert water into hydrogen and oxygen, which can be stored and then transformed back into energy in these fuel cells.
This is the future, because it's totally decarbonated energy that comes from the sun. We put the energy into bottles. We're bottling the sun here, which will mean we can eventually totally decarbonate the electric networks.
The MERT project received 10 million euros from the EU out of a total of 26 million euros since 2014. For now, it provides enough power for 200 homes. It's a solution that's still in search of an industrial outlet, even if it points the way to a brighter, cleaner future.
Preserving biodiversity is crucial for an island like Corsica, and this research centre is doing just that with the help of 9 million euros in European regional development funds. Well, I'm with Emmanuel de Gentilly from Bastia City Hall, and we're going to touch some sea urchins here in this basin. Mikhail, hello. What is Stella Mar?
Stella Mar laboratory is working on different kind of sea species around Corsica. Some of these species are really going down in Mediterranean Sea, which is why we are working on it.
Okay, so it's about repopulating.
It's about learning about the species and eventually, if it's needed in some specific area, repopulate it.
Why did you decide to focus on sea urchins?
Because there is a lot of problematics around Corsica on sea urchins' wild population, and the purpose was to see how quickly they are going down or up. Here we have got some sea urchin that we will have to catch in order to do some check on them.
All right.
I'm sorry, the water is quite cold, but...
Yes, you just have to very slowly turn it.
Yeah.
Well, you
Let's go.
take...
We caught those wild sea urchin yesterday, and today we're gonna do some height and weight on them in order to gain some data.
So this kind of project here, the Stella Mare we've just seen with you, do you think the EU really is interested in funding this kind of thing in the future, or are its priorities elsewhere now?
There's a battle over priorities going on now. It would be very detrimental to us if these kinds of projects to do with the environment were to be scaled back. In any case, we hope we can preserve a clear strategy to continue developing operational programs like Stella Mar, which are essential for us. We must not lose sight of Corsica's specific needs. We have always fought to ensure that the island's uniqueness is respected. It's a shame we we haven't been able to benefit from specific aid programs like those that the EU's outermost regions receive. Today, we need to work on making different forms of funding interchangeable so that we can redeploy resources if we don't manage to be as efficient as other regions in areas like competitiveness. Remember that we're a region in economic transition, and we need to be able to redeploy funds from one area to another. Otherwise, we risk losing some of the funding altogether. That would be very penalizing for an island like ours. We really need these EU funds for us to be able to develop.
What you're saying could actually become even more difficult to achieve because the EU wants to merge cohesion funding into a mega fund.
Yes, of course, this will penalize poorer regions like ours because in reality it will simply create even more competition between territories to the detriment of regions such as ours. And it will make us even more invisible.
Corsica has a specific status as a collectivity. It's not an autonomous region, but Corsica might be moving towards more autonomy. Becoming autonomous would actually help you to choose EU funding in a more targeted way.
Well, in any case, it would help redefine a number of important principles, be it our relationship with the EU's Committee of the Regions or with other governing bodies. But above all, with regard to the competences and powers that would then be granted to Corsica directly. And this is all being discussed between the collectivity of Corsica and the French state.
That's all for this part of the show from Corsica, l'île de Beauté, the beautiful island. In part 2, I'll be in an often overlooked but gorgeous department in central France, the Creuse, known for its Valley of the Painters and its tapestry work. I'll see you there.